Okay, 115 days out for the meet, deadlift day today, and we are working our way closer to being able to run true max effort work, but because things kind of have been going like shit, we're not doing true max effort work because I haven't earned the right to pull the trigger on that yet. So, like on Monday's bench, what we're gonna be doing is running a indicator single at a 6 to 7 RPE, then running a work set based off of that indicator single. And the whole point of this sort of protocol is that with the work set following the single, I'm still getting some volume in and building the base. And with that single, even though it's a 6 to 7 RPE, it's gonna let me start creeping closer to being able to handle bigger weights on a single. And if this all goes to plan, by the time this wave is done, we should be able to get another step closer to actually being able to handle real max effort work without something blowing off or going terribly wrong. And if you're wondering why I'm putting knee sleeves on right now, if it is deadlift day, we're gonna be running those slow tempo eccentric squats for a kind of a speed squat protocol, because with how the squat eccentric has been feeling, I do need to establish a little bit more control. I do need to refine positioning, and the slow tempo eccentric is going to let me do just that. And the hope is that it feels a little bit better than last week. And in order to make it better than last week, what I need to remember is what I learned on Saturday, and that is I need to be mindful of carrying a little bit more like hamstring leg curl tension into the bottom to help stabilize me on the way down. And the goal here is going to be to see if we can get a little bit less chatter through that mid-range.
This ain't a dream, nigga, hurricane, a nightmare. Stab you in the sleep, it's not the baby, I just hot shit. Daddy was a bitch, I had to do it. I ain't need no speed mask to do it.
That was 5, right? Oh, well, whatever. And I'm going for roughly a 3 count tempo eccentric this week, because that's enough to get what I want out of it, but not so much that it's going to become stupid.
This is all lives matter. It's 1982 shit, ain't no new shit.
And I mean, not perfect, but that's what we're doing. I'm gonna go 325 for work sets again, and going belt on for work set number 1 because I'm a pansy, but also because I need to figure out how the hell to put my belt on when my waist is no longer skinny. That one's better than the last one, so we'll try to do better again. And as I was saying last week, I freaking hate how hard the tempo eccentrics are on me. Like, I don't feel like I should be this out of breath on a set of 5 with 325, but it is what it is, so we'll do another. And on the last one, Miata pointed out that I was probably a little bit too lumbar extended, to try to do a better job of using my fupa to pull my pelvis under the bar.
Your attention, yeah.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. And I think something I experimented with during that set is towards the end, I picked up my head a little bit, and I think that let me get a better quality chin pad versus looking down. So we're gonna try that from the beginning on the next one. Okay, last set, And if the first 3 go well with the tempo, gonna put the gas pedal on a little bit for the last 2.
Go into your tension. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. And those last 2 were just like is this actually going to pan out at full speed test? And I think it's going to pan out at full speed because that freaking felt like my squat. So I am very excited for Saturday. So now time to ditch the sleeves, ditch the shoes, and see if we can make my pull feel like my pull. Was going to try to pull off a jump transition, but decided that I don't have the mental energy to figure out how to do that right now. And you can't see it because my feet are out of frame, but deadlift shoes are on. And considering this is first week of the wave and first week of implementing this protocol, putting 0 pressure on myself in terms of loading, like obviously I want to make it half decent, but if it ends up being shittier than last week, like I'm gonna do my best to not be too pissed at myself. But I mean, point is, we're gonna try to do good, but we gotta be smart about where we put that top set. Because if we aren't smart about where we put that top set, I'm gonna be more upset at myself next week. We're gonna be okay. And big priority here today is better pre-tension than we had last week, so we can produce a better leg press off that initiation. And what I mean by that is I'm trying to actively pull myself against my quads and glutes down to the bottom. And then as soon as my left hand is set, I'm trying to put tension in the bar to pull my right hand around, and then I can carry all that tension into the leg press. Yeah. As of now, at least feels like we got some of that snap back. And it's feeling good enough right now that I'm at least considering making the jump from 4 reds straight to 5, but we gotta pull 4 reds really good before we do that, so let's pull 4 reds really good. Yeah, I think we're going straight to 5 reds. And the determining factor on whether or not going straight to 5 plates was a good choice will be whether or not this is my top set. So let's make sure we do a good enough job that we can go up. That was a good song. We're adding the yellow. And at 16.5 weeks out, if I smack this, we're in a pretty damn good spot, so I better smack this. It's fun to actually have confidence in my deadlift again.
You're a big, strong deadlifter boy now.
As I almost die on my suitcase. Yeah. I'm allowed to go 705. And Captain No Fun, where is she? Niana, back there, just told me that the smart call would be to leave it there and give myself a chance to build up over the wave. And as much as I hate to admit it, she is right. So, yeah. And the good news with that is that Darrell is 5.5 weeks out from his meet and very in shape to do strong person things. So he can afford to get a little bit more sandy with his top set today. So I'll put that in the vlog so it's less depressing. Okay, act like yourself. Have fun. Yep. Good. Yep.
Come on, focus. Come on.
Yeah, I think chill on ham work for sure too. Because that was definitely hams not pulling through. Yeah. And he was talking about how his hamstrings were still pretty freaking sore from what we did on Saturday. So what we're gonna do is make sure that he tones down the hamstring work to let those guys catch up so we can set up his peak. But I mean, if he can do that with being fried from Saturday, he's in a pretty good spot. And I gotta get the app out to figure out what my work set down set is. And as much as I'm kind of upset at Miata for not letting me go up, I know that I can pull 320 today, 705. But I know that if I do that, I might be at risk of overcooking a little bit, which would mean that I won't be able to build as well across the wave. And if I hold back today, like I always got next week 320, and if I save it for next week, well, that gives me a shot at doing like 340 something on the week 3. But gonna punch in that top set to figure out what we're doing for the downset work set. And like I wrote the program, I can do the math, but it's more fun to have the app spit it out for me. So we're going down to 4 reds and a 5, which will be really light. But again, that's part of design right now because I don't want to overcook myself. We're running the first week really light for the sake of being able to build. So we'll crank out some good clean reps at the 4 red and we'll make her pretty and spiffy. And because this is a deadlift, not a bench, I'm not going to go as stupid with the up here. So plan is to cap it as soon as there's any deviation in quality or groove.
Keep going.
Good enough. That guy's getting out of breath there. And after a shamefully long amount of rest, we are moving on to stiff legs as our secondary for the day, because the stronger my stiff leg is, the better I can do on deadlifts. And I'm going to try to really emphasize the round here so I don't need a ton of weight on the bar. We'll go up. And for the sake of continuing to not roast ourselves on week 1 of the new wave, just going green for this set because it should be hard enough to get something out of it, but not so hard that we die next week. So let's keep the round, keep the hips high, and make this quality. Yeah, a little hammy crampage. And I know what I call that immediately after the set was a cramp, but in an effort to be more honest with the vlog when I screw things up, that was a couple of fibers on long-headed bicep femoris letting go. And I'm a little bit pissed at myself because, again, it's another case of I know better. And I was thinking like, hey, it's a small jump, I'm being smart, but reality is if I'm loading a more lengthy position than I'm used to, I need to do a better job of easing into it. And like, it's not bad enough to screw anything up. It's bad enough to feel pretty bad, which is usually a good sign because that means that there's still a lot of stuff intact. So I did try to run some lighter stiff legs, lighter single leg RDLs, and I was thinking like, okay, maybe I could get back into it and just continue all the stiff legs and desensitize it really quickly. Those did not seem to start coming around. So current plan is to go and run some lying leg curls, see if we can get it feeling better, and then try to make the rest of the session as productive as possible. So that is what we're going to do. And to be clear, I am very pissed at myself for this, but it is another reminder that I do need to be more cautious as strength is coming back. And like, it's so funny how I could feel so on top of the world and then immediately get my nuts kicked. But I mean, that's reasoning to not get too excited when I feel on top of the world, because I am not invincible, as is apparent. But I will see you on the lying leg curl. Update. 2 days later, sitting here right now, and the thing is feeling at about 90%. And if you're wondering what I did about it, it started with everything that I ran through the rest of this vlog. On the drive home, I did a ton of hamstring isometrics against the floor of the car, and then I started easing into some more hinging with single leg RDLs. I ran a bunch of Copenhagen planks, as well as single leg glute bridges, progressing those to cope dips and single hip thrusts. Started adding loaded single leg RDLs, and then moved into some deep J curls with a little bit of loading, and that got the ball rolling. Now, if you have something going on yourself, The entire framework that I used and the science behind it is laid out in the Strains and Tears lecture exclusive for the team. And if you are stuck on something, no matter what it is, if you join the team, make a post giving the details, I will be able to give you individualized guidelines on how to handle that issue as quickly as possible. So if you're sick of being stuck in training, hit link below, join the team, and we will get you taken care of. And for that, we're gonna give this line doohickey a try because it should be pretty friendly on the positioning. Gonna start out very, very friendly with loading because I don't want it to grab again. That feels manageable. Eccentric, a little bit grabby, but nothing terrible. Do a bunch of reps here before I decide if I should go up or not. I think I need to change positioning a little bit too. This is a really nice lying leg curl, FYI. And like I was meaning to add some lying leg curls to this day anyway, so this isn't the worst outcome. I mean, I'd prefer to not have a bunch of crampy bullshit getting in the way of doing stiff legs, but again, not the worst outcome. That was like a million reps, so we'll go up for the next set a little bit. Not going to move the camera, but I am doing some single leg RDLs right now. And after I tried to stiff leg the plate, like I tried single leg RDLs, and they felt just as grabby as before. But after that first set of lying leg curl, single leg RDL is much less grabby. So yeah, confirms that we are going to be A-okay. Do you like the camera motion here? I hope you like the camera motion here. Anyways, taking mild jump, 10 kilos on the stack. Hopefully this does not punish me. Wanted to grab a little bit on that first one, so we'll see how the eccentric goes. Actually decently smooth. Second rep was a little bit smoother, so we'll see if it smooths out through the set. I actually really like this lying leg curl. I wish we were in a position to push it heavier. I know the ultra control got decently hard. And we're going up another little bit, which is actually surprisingly difficult. And I can tell that I've only been doing Nordics and GHRs because strength curve Nordics and GHRs, like it's pretty aggressive at the bottom, then lets up pretty hard towards the top. And like despite the feels, like it doesn't feel that bad right now. It just feels way freaking harder than I would ever want this to feel. So I'm glad I thought to bring the lying leg curls back like when I planned out today's workout, but I'm also upset that I'm forced to do the lying leg curls in the current circumstances, but we're getting some work in. And I'll call that good enough to move on to leg press. And I was just talking to Miata to find out if we are just really bad at that, at the hamstring sketchy, or if we're doing okay. And I'm going like 6 pins heavier than Miata does on it, because as with all the Panada stuff in here, it's really freaking heavy, so I'm okay with that outcome. And the original plan for this slot when I wrote the program was actually to run pit shark squats, just because I wanted to have to like stabilize the hips and pelvis in relation to knees a little bit more than I have been. And I was thinking like leg press after the crampage bullshit going on, but after the lying leg curls, like felt good enough that doing something more squatty, I think is going to be doable. But the problem is that the pit shark is occupied. All 7 of the leg presses are occupied. The weird Smith machine Hatfield squat setup is not occupied. So we're going to see if we can make this work. And empty at least feels zero hammy sketch, like I can tell it's there, but not sketchy, so we'll put a plate on. And because I'm trying to make this group specific to my raw squat, not doing anything fancy with the hands, like trying to swing to the knees like I normally would if I was making it a quad intent Hatfield, basically I just have them there as a safety blanket in case the hamstrings grab again. And I gotta figure out how to set my torso with this pad. Might just grab the handles. pad position is a little awkward, not gonna lie, but and I hate squatting in front of the mirror because, well, I hate squatting in front of the mirror, but also the machine is a little bit crooked in relation to the mirror. So like, I look crooked and keep like looking at my feet to make sure I'm square with the machine, but I don't know. Well, we'll go 2 plates. And very glad to report, for the sake of Saturday, that that did not feel sketchy at all. Like, I'm definitely hesitant because I don't want it to grab again, but optimistic that we'll still be able to squat halfway decently. I probably should have just squatted on the real SSB with how this feels. And because I'm trying to keep it on the side of hamstring, not feeling like it's going to rip off, just going 2 1/4 for the work set here, which isn't very heavy on paper, but this machine's like 135-ish empty, so it's decently heavy. Definitely feeling how awkward the pad angle is, but I mean, it's workable. Oops, daisies. Yeah, I don't know if I'm a fan of this thing for squats because it's like the pad is, it doesn't rotate or spin in the machine. And the angle it puts you at the top, it's like I'm 2 hinged where I want to be at the top. Then the bottom, the pad, like I have to roll in it to get enough hinge to get to the bottom. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna call this one a loss for today, but happy that didn't feel sketchy. And because that felt like the setup was limiting my ability to do productive work, we're on the leg press. Now that it's open, and I think just because we already wasted a bunch of time on that stupid Smith machine dealio, just gonna do 1 rep, get nice and deep. 1 rep, 1 set, get nice and deep. And just drive the reps high. Feels much better with the heels on than last week, FYI. And I'd say that was more productive than the SSB Smith thingamabobber. And the high school kids are still on the pit shark, praying that they're not on it next week so I can actually use it, because I think that will be the most productive option for what I need right now. in this slot. And plan for the secondary hinge slot was to run a single leg RDL, but with the hamstring feeling a little bit sketchy at length, I think what we'll do is one of my favorite posterior chain base building protocols with a single arm RDL, so we can touch some length without it feeling sketchy in loading, bang out a shit ton of reps, and make it feel better than when we started. And basically we're just gonna do a bunch of reps one arm, switch to the other arm, do a bunch of reps, so on and so forth. And realistically, 50 is too light for this protocol in real life, but again, trying to manage loading to make things feel better than worse. And this is gonna get quite brutal on everything. We're cooking. One more round. Holy. I'm freaking dying. But yeah, that's 3 rounds of 20-ish, switching arms, no rest. Didn't count the first round because I was talking to the camera and I can't count when I'm talking. I'm not sure if I counted the other rounds right, but holy guacamole. And my first 3 preferred options for a lat bias row machine are all currently being used, so pleasantly surprised with this guy. Like, has that nice elbow pack low. I think if I get my hand a little bit lower on it, yeah, it's a halfway decent lat squeeze. I think we can make this work. Need more weight to make it work, but we'll warm up lefty first. Yeah, I'm okay with this. I think especially if we jack up the seat a little bit higher so I can finish with hand below elbow, it's gonna be the ticket. I don't know if you guys can see this in the frame, but with how the plates get loaded on here, I'm not necessarily looking forward to taking them off with the hammy feels, but whatever. Better than waiting for a machine. That's a good squeeze. And I think we'll be able to make a work set out of this. Adequate set there. And like, not quite the same degree of lat crampage as the other guy, but it's a pretty high quality lat contraction. I think for the sake of saving time, no rest, straight back into righty. But yeah, not the perfect feel, but definitely worth continuing to use this as a secondary option. Worked decently. And I guess unloading it wasn't that bad. And I'm thinking with the abs getting a little bit sketchy last week, wise choice here, the actual wise choice will be just running these guys' body weight, being really deliberate with pulling into the dead bug before we curl up. And we'll drive the reps decently high here. And that worked. Gonna run another, but because a billion reps of sit-ups is probably boring to watch, I'm not gonna film it. And still freaking kicking myself because, again, it is another case of it shouldn't have happened if I was not in such a rush. And again, it's like, as much as it sucks, I still clearly need these reminders to slow down when I'm doing new stuff. And I think that I don't want to abandon the higher hip stiff leg, but what I'll probably do next week is run it off a deficit, make it a little bit nasty range of motion wise, go way freaking lighter, run the reps super high, build up that length, build up the tissue tolerance. At home, I'm gonna add in some big length Jefferson curls, really try to keep the knees straight to stretch out that ham to make sure she's feeling good. And I think like with how it felt the rest of the session, especially after those lying leg curls, I think it's going to be no problem at all, just like the pack. I will probably have to be a little bit cautious moving forward, but again, it's not the biggest deal. It feels pretty damn good right now. The fact that I could run that stupid SSB Smith machine thingy squat and have it not feel sketchy, although we were limited in loading due to the sketchiness of the overall setup, being able to run that ridiculously heavy leg press with the same loading that I did last week, like I know we're going to be more than fine. With the hinges at the end, like it didn't feel perfect, but it shouldn't feel perfect right now. So my job is to keep on desensitizing, keep on getting it so that we can do good again next week. And again, I know I was talking about how I'm thinking I should be able to pull 320 next week after that 302.5 kilo, which is really 65 pounds because I'm using stupid calibrated pound plates. I gotta get my head wrapped around that still, but I'm not gonna hold myself to needing to do it. If it feels good, obviously we'll have a little bit of fun, but if it does feel remotely sketchy, we'll cap load and keep her smart, keep putting good work in, because again, that's all that matters right now is putting good work in. And I'm kicking myself because once again, I did something that may limit my ability to put good work in, but I know we will be able to move forward. We'll be able to do better. We will be able to make this a non-issue shortly. So yeah, anyways, peace out guys. Have a good night. Sorry for being a dumbass, and I will see ya in the team.